Hello, everybody, and welcome back. My name is Karmella Barr, and as you can see, I look a little different than you're probably used to, but that's because today we are going to do a get ready with me kind of situation. So, I have all of my makeup set up, I have my fan, which is probably what you hear in the background, like a little humming, just because when you apply makeup, you want to make sure that your body stays at a nice cool temperature, and I'm someone that gets warm really quick. So, if we're putting on a bunch of makeup, we don't want to sweat it all off. So that's why we have that going on. And I just hopped out of the shower, as you can probably guess, from my little hat, towel hat. And we're just gonna get right into it. So first things first, I'm going to block my brows. I like to use Spirit Gum, which is like a tacky substance that you can use to help like flatten your eyebrows. And on top of that tacky substance, we put a little bit of brow wax on there to really create a nice smooth layer to really resemble sort of actual second skin almost. And then on top of that, lovely Elmer's glue stick. It is the purple one. And I find that you can use the white one, but the purple one, in my mind, just works better. I don't know if it's just something I came up with in my own mind, but every time I see a drag tutorial, they're always using purple. So I've got it in my mind that that's the best one. So, without further ado, I'm going to show you how I go from this to this. Alright, let's get started with our eyebrows. So, first things first, we're going to take our spoolie, and since this is reflective, I can just look right at myself in the camera, give myself a vanity moment. Alright, so I'm just brushing all of my hairs up. You can see that on the bottom half of my eyebrow it's a little thinner. That's because I actually shaved my eyebrows off like a few years ago when I was doing drag a lot, and I just got so sick of blocking my brows, so I shaved off my whole thing and they grew in a little thinner, so that's why they look thin. But I still block them just because for my specific look, I want to have more of the nub here so that I can go a little bit higher with my angle. So we are going to start blocking. Started to apply my Spirit Gum. You can probably see a nice thin layer. I'm going to come around and clean that up because it did go a little further than I anticipated. But when you apply the spoolie, you want to apply it in a downward motion at first, and then you want to go upward. And what that does is that actually helps coat your full eyebrow so that when you go up, like you were doing right now, it helps the product adhere to your face so that you can lie flat and the coverage is better. And you'll notice that I'm sort of doing a surprised expression on my face. That's because I cheat and use this natural sort of line I have here to give me a sign of when I want my brow block to stop, so that when I use my actual human eyebrow, I can use that as a guide to help create my Karmella illusion. Now this part, you're gonna take a finger, any finger, and lick it. And then you're just going to use that to help smooth out your wax. It's important if you are someone that's sort of exploring makeup for the first time. Find drag performers or people that are creatives that you really look up to and follow their makeup tutorials, and they will give you some really cool and awesome tips. Like, I learned a lot from just asking people questions, getting my makeup done by other performers in the city, and just being curious, doing your own work and exploring on your own, because it's really important for you to be able to do your makeup yourself as well as getting other people to do it for you too. But it's just a really great strength to have, especially as a performer, when you might not have access to a whole bunch of people helping you with your makeup. As you can see, we have blocked our brow partially, and we have our wax on after we put on our Spirit Gum. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to take my spoolie again, And I'm just gonna swoop up the part that I did not block out, just to make sure it's separated from the illusion that we're creating. And then next, we are gonna go in with our glue stick. I'm going to pause this because this is a step that takes quite some time. So I'm going to take a moment, pause this, and we'll come back. Hi, we're back. So as you can see, I have had a few layers put on my eyebrow, and this is about my third layer, and constantly getting my glue stick tacky. And I'm pulling the corner of my eyelid just to give myself more of a taut surface, so when I apply my glue stick, it really fills in all those crannies. And I like to just make sure I go in multiple directions, but don't go in multiple directions before it is actually dried, because that can lift up some of your product that you just laid down, and that would have been a big waste of time. So what some people like to do is put white concealing powder on each layer, and you can do that. I like to just do it this way because I don't use a lot of brow block, so I don't want that much product on my face, but you can definitely do powder between each layer just to make sure that you are actually getting a dry surface to reapply the second layer of glue. But as you can see, we are fully brow blocked for the part of our brow that wants to be blocked. I also, before I came and sat down, I shaved, I washed my face with a classic cleanser, I used a scrub brush and really exfoliated my face afterward. And then I also used my toner, and I did put on some facial moisturizer as well. And this step actually requires me to set my product. So I'm going to set all of my face right now. Because I am setting my moisturizer just to really lock it in, because as I mentioned before, I am someone that does get warm quicker, and so I do end up sweating, and this really locks in the moisture so that you are not sweating off your makeup, because we don't want to do that. Alright, this looks very strange right now, but we will remove this in just a moment with our lovely fluffy brush. My face is back to kind of normal, and we just finished setting our foundation of our facial moisturizer and our brow block, and before we apply any makeup to our face, we're going to use a primer, just because that really gives a nice stage for the makeup to be applied. So about a pea-sized amount. I use this mattifying Wet n Wild foundation primer, just because that I found that mattifying primers work really well for my skin type, and of course not everyone has the exact same skin, so your experience might be different for the primer that you use, or even if you use a primer, but that's the one that I use. This one here. Boop, boop, boop. And we're gonna do our little hack of setting our primer again. Perfect. Now here is the fun part. We are going to use all of our foundations, and I like to call this the mapping step. So what I did is I labeled all of my foundation sticks. So the one is the base for pretty much my whole face, so it's the one that's closest to my natural skin tone. 2 is my highlight, so I would put that on all of the places I really want to draw attention to, bringing it forward. And then 3 would be my contour, which is the darkest part of my face, so like the cheekbones, to really pull back the cheekbones, because it's like a trick with light. It's science, but it works. So we are going to do some mapping. The last part is going down the sides, really softening out the jaw. Some people don't necessarily need to do this step, but I find for the look that I'm going for, I do it just to really give myself that uniform shape. Oh, one place I forgot to highlight was my brow bone, so I'm just going to apply a little bit on my brow block. You'll find that when we start to do all of our colors on our eyelid, this base really helps because I have more of a deeper skin tone. A little bit of a lighter priming base really makes the colors pop more. So that's partly why I do it on the eyebrow, but then when I blend it, it's going to come down here a little bit too and really give us a good surface to work with. This is the mapping stage. It looks a little wild right now, but we're going to go in with our lovely beauty blender and make it happen. I will be back. We did it. So yes, I just gently blended my mapping out, and as you can see, all of the lines look a little softer. There are parts that might need a little bit more TLC because we definitely want them to look subtle and not super harsh. So as you can see, there is still a little bit of that highlight there. I forgot to show you on camera, but below the highlight there was nothing here before I stopped the camera, and I just went in with my number 1 shade, so the foundation shade that's just a nice gradient just below that. So you'll notice that it's a little bit of a softer gradient between the 2 shades. And you may be thinking to yourself, why did they not contour their nose? I personally like to contour my nose after everything. It's just a habit that I have personally, but most people do all the contouring at the same time. I personally like to do it later. I don't know why, but that's just how I do things. So it is now time to give ourselves eyebrows and to give ourselves colors and dimension to our face. So once again, I would say that looks quite nice, but we're going to go back in with our number 2 foundation, which is our highlight, and oops, just going to do a little crisping up. I like to do crisping up with just like a smaller brush, and I'm going to do my brow bone, so just underneath and just a little bit on the corners. I will do this off camera just to save us some time. Be right back. We're back. Thank you so much for being patient. So as you can see, there's more of a pronounced sort of lighter line underneath my brow and just on the corner, and we're looking good. I also give you the suggestion, just like we're sort of turning to look how we and see how we look in natural light, I really suggest going to the bathroom and really getting a strong, straight-on view of what you look like in bathroom lighting too. I just did that before I came back on camera, just to make sure that we look related in the eyebrow region, okay? Because that's it. Lights and stuff can play tricks on you, so it's very important that you give yourself as many different settings while you're getting ready to really make sure that this whole look is cohesive and looks as fierce as we feel. I am now going to go in with a little bit of brown eye color here, and what this is going to do is just give us a little bit of dimension on our lid. Alright, so we are going to add a little bit of black just down here in the inner corner. Actually, I'm going to make myself a line with my brown a little bit, just so I kind of know where to go. Okay, gonna grab a little bit of brown, just a little fluffy brush, or sorry, black, sorry, not brown. Just a little fluffy brush. corner. Ah, yes. And then you see... Hey, we're back. I got the okay, I did my little peek in the bathroom, and we're set to go to the next step. So now we get to add some color. What some performers or makeup artists do at this step, since we've already sort of created our illusion with our base foundation, some people use a loose sort of set of powder underneath their eye, just in case there's any fallout. I personally don't do that because if there's anything that goes wrong, I can just go over it again with my not liquid foundations, my foundations, and just cover it up that way. I find that if I put anything to bake under my eye now, since it takes me such a substantial amount of time to actually finish my eye because I'm so particular about things, it looks sort of cakey, and that's not the look I like to go for. So I personally opt out of doing that and just fix it up later should anything fall out, which sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But that's just another expert tip for you. Today we're doing a purple look because purple is really royal and really resembles power. So we're going to go in with some purple. Excellent. Now, I'm going to take my defining brush for my eyebrows. It has that number 2 leftover color on it. And what I'm going to do is just apply some of this onto my lid. Oh, it doesn't have as much as I hoped. Get some more on here. And this is going to be that priming that I talked about earlier. Then I'm going to go back in with the black. Just to soften it a bit. It doesn't need to be softened a lot, but just a bit. I'm noticing that on this side it doesn't look as defined on the black, so I'm just going to add a little more black. I will be covering this up too with some other product, but it's just to make sure that we have consistency on both sides, because symmetry is the word, kids. All right, and now we get to add our lovely lid color. I'm going to use this dark purple that I used in the outer corner, and I'm going to use that as a base, and then we're going to go in with a nice deep gold. Thank you so much for being patient. We are back. Now, it might look a little sort of muddy and stuff to you right now, but that is just because we don't have our black liner. We're also going to add some accent colors on our lid to really make them pop. So, bear with me. This look is not done just yet. Alright, so we are now moving on to our lovely gold palette. And I'm finding that with our royal theme of like purple and just giving us like affluence, I'm going to add my favorite gold here. I don't know if you can see. It's this one. See, I've used a lot of it already. But it's just like a nice deep gold. I'm just going to put some of that right sort of in the middle of my eye. Looking good. I'm going to take a peek in the other room just to make sure that we are serving what we want to serve. Then we're going to come back, do some liner, contour the rest of our nose, use some powders, and do lips. And then I'm going to put my look on, and we're ready for the day. I'll see you in a bit. liner time. Okay, so we're gonna use the eyebrow brush for our liner. I'm just getting some black. And my nose is getting runny, oh no. This is the worst part of makeup, is the under eye. I'm sure there's some strategies, but I like to just like go in, get it done, because it's the quickest. Okay. Look at that. Gonna go in one last time with, oh, that's the purple brush. Where's our brown and black? Just a little buffing. A little buffing. Beautiful. Smoke out the bottom again. This is with the purple brush I was using earlier. I apologize for my sniffling now. Not really something I can control very much, so I apologize. It's probably distracting and annoying. Okay. Look at this, giving us our full vibes. Yes. I'm going to do a little more cleaning up before I do my powders. So just a little bit of cleaning up. I'm just gonna do my final look in the mirror, and then we're gonna do some powders, and then we get to do some blush and put lashes on, then close. Then we're done! Yay! Thank you again so much for being so patient for this tutorial. I'll be back in a moment. Time to do the contour of the nose. And now it's powder time! I have my lovely contour brush. I'm going to use the brown that I used earlier for my defining eyelid tactic. And we're just going to use a little bit of the brown. I'm going to go in all the places where we contoured. And here we are. We like to wait just for a few minutes for this, and why I wear a muumuu is because, I don't know if you can see, but I get all this powder all over me. Now I can put my fan back down to the normal setting. And I'm just gonna wait a moment. We're gonna remove this. Then we gotta do lashes, some blush and lips, and then we're gonna put our clothes on. Yay! All right, let's remove this. So I like to just do small circles to remove the setting powder. And I find if you go light to dark, it really continues that gradient effect. Because that is what we would like to continue to see in our makeup. And if you remove the makeup dark to light, it sort of negates all of the work that you put in to creating that illusion. And you may find, oh, it's actually not that bad. Sometimes when I put powder up on my eyebrows, my eyebrows get a little faded, and that's probably why people do the powder before they do everything else. But this is just what works for me, and of course, you don't have to follow this tutorial exactly the way I do it. I'm just gonna go in a little bit more of this darker color just to define a bit. But yeah, one other hint I can give to you is when you're getting ready, definitely listen to things that bring you up, make you happy, podcast, funny TV show, even your songs that you're about to perform, anything like that. I think that's a great idea. I am going to quickly use some blush. So my good friend Ray Sunshine, who's an amazing makeup artist in the city and drag performer, taught me this trick. So I like to use rich blush colors. And look at that. Yes, perfect. So I'm using a purple and a red. And what she said was to use the red on the apple of the cheek. So that's like the really round part. And it really just gives that illusion. The opulent starting. Oh, like we could just end the tutorial here and be like, you know what, thank you all for watching. But we are committed to the full look. So yes, you want to focus more so on the cheek and just sort of bring it up a little bit. And then take a little bit of purple, like the same purple that we used on the bottom part of our eyes. Just a little bit. And then we do that on the outside. And that helps the illusion of a lovely, fierce cheek. And then I'm gonna a little more, boop, and a little bit more. Beautiful. Some people like to bring their blush up into their forehead. I personally don't, but of course, don't blame you for your process. Do what is right for you. Okay, now I'm going to quickly define the brows again, because as I mentioned before, some of them got lightened during the powder stage. And what's awesome about this is it's literally paint by numbers, like you're just adding a little bit more black to what's already there. I'm gonna use this because I don't trust myself. Okay. Beautiful. Now, get this on. Just give that a little zhuzh. There. We are now going to do, oh my goodness. Now this is a part that I've been doing drag for, oh my goodness, I can't even tell how long, but the eyelashes, applying them to my face myself, it's a process. So you first want to make sure you get your mascara on. Okay. And some performers like their whole eyelid is black, and they like put their eyelash like here. It's kind of wild, but like if that's the look you're doing, it makes sense because you need it to like even out, right? But for my look, it's more of a subtle look, so it's gonna stay pretty much attached to my classic original eyelash. So amazing. All right, now our last step is lip gloss and lips. I'll be right back and I will show you our final complete look. I'm back. Take a look. I have some accessories on, all of my accoutrements, and see what I mean? We're finished. We're looking sassy and fierce, and we are ready for some storytelling. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while I got ready today. I hope you learned some new things. Also, in this video, I've listed some of the makeup brands and companies that I use to help make Karmella. So there's going to be a list of lovely, gender inclusive, as well as POC inclusive brands that I use and that I would love for everyone else to know about, especially because sometimes it might be hard for people of color to really find things that help make them thrive and feel great. So definitely check out those brands, and they're all very diverse. So even if you're someone of a more fair complexion, I'm sure you can find something for yourself as well. One other thing I forgot to mention: a drag look is never fully complete without some setting spray. So I'm just going to add a little bit of setting spray, because we just did all that work and time and effort, and hopefully it's set for a while. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day. See you later.